Hello students, I am Professor Dheeraj Kumar Singh from Department of Mechanical Engineering, Sagar Group of Institutions, SISTEC R Bhopal. Dear students, today we are going to discuss applications of a steady flow energy equation, that is flow processes. So let's start the chapter. Basically, there are four topics which comes under steady flow energy equation. So we also call it application of a steady flow energy equation in some of the engineering systems. So first one is nozzle, second is turbine, third is compressor, and fourth is throttling device. So one by one we will discuss about all these four devices. So basically the steady flow energy equation applies to a wide variety of processes like pipeline flows, heat transfer processes, mechanical power generation in engines and turbines, combustion processes, and flow through nozzles and diffusers. That means we are applying this steady flow energy equation basically for open systems, right, where energy and mass transfer both can take place. So in certain problems, some of the terms in steady flow energy equation may be negligible or zero. We have already seen the equation of a steady flow, and that is a steady flow energy equation we have already seen, that is H1 plus C1 square by 2 plus GZ1 plus Q equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2 plus GZ2 plus shaft work or control volume work. So that was our steady flow energy equation. So many of the terms from this steady flow energy equation can be neglected or may be negligible or zero, but it is best to write the full equation first and then eliminate the terms which are necessary. So let's have a look to nozzle. So basically nozzle is a device which increases the velocity or kinetic energy of a fluid at the expense of pressure drop, whereas a diffuser increases the pressure of a fluid at the expense of its kinetic energy. So there is a basic difference between nozzle and diffuser, that nozzle is having a convergent cross section. We can see here this convergent cross section is for nozzle, and if the cross section would be divergent, then divergent cross section would be of diffuser. So here we have discussed about nozzle, right? So if we see a convergent cross section at the outlet, then that type of device is known as nozzle. So we can see here at section 1.1 the area is more, and at section 2.2 area is less. So from continuity equation also we can say that where area is less, at that particular portion velocity will be more, right? So when velocity will be more, then pressure will be less according to Bernoulli equation, right? So for understanding the steady flow energy equation of nozzle, we have to follow some assumptions or some conditions. So here are the conditions. Nozzle is perfectly insulated. So here in the outer periphery of the nozzle you can see insulation, right? Insulation means heat transfer is zero. This is a basic assumption for nozzle. We are neglecting the kinetic energy and potential energy changes because these changes are very minimum, very less. So that's why we are neglecting it. No work is done by the nozzle. Yes, this is true because fluid is coming and fluid is going. Fluid is not working anywhere. That's why here is no work done by the system or by the nozzle. So we have taken work done equal to 0. Fourth point is very important, dear students, because we have shown here C1 is very less than C2. C2 is our velocity at exit and C1 is our velocity at inlet. So as we have already discussed the function of nozzle, that nozzle is a device which increases the velocity or kinetic energy of a fluid at the expense of pressure drop. That means at the outlet velocity will increase at the expense of pressure, right? So the velocity at cross section 2.2 will be much more than the velocity at cross section 1.1, right? So now dear students, we will apply our steady flow energy equation at cross section 1.1 and at cross section 2.2. So here is the equation: H1 plus C1 square by 2 plus GZ1 plus Q equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2 plus GZ2 plus WCV. Right. So in some cases, if you want to write this net heat transfer into differential form, then you can write it in differential form like del Q divided by dm, or here for net work transfer you can write it del W by dm. I have written simply denoted simply as Q and WCV. So dear students, from the assumption we can see we have to neglect kinetic energy and potential energy. So C1 square by 2 is kinetic energy at inlet and GZ1 is potential energy at inlet. So these two will get cancelled with right hand side GZ2 and GZ2 only. Why? Because C2 square by 2 is much higher. That this is outlet velocity C2. We have already seen that outlet velocity will be much higher than C1. So we can neglect inlet velocity, right, and we can keep our outlet velocity. Net work transfer will become 0 and net heat transfer will become 0 because system is insulated, right. So what left we have H1 equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2. Now we can arrange it and we can write the final velocity as C2 equal to under root 2 into H1 minus H2. Difference of enthalpies at inlet and outlet. So this velocity unit will be in meter per second, and H1 minus H2 is change in enthalpy and it will be in joule per kilogram, right. So here is the diagram of nozzle with insulation. This is the datum line from central line. This height is Z1 and this height is Z2. That means potential energy will be same at both the cross section, right. So this is the case for nozzle. So this expression is very important, that is C2 is equal to under root 2 into H1 minus H2. This is very important expression for the point of view, from the point of view of solving numericals, because this equation will be used in many numericals. Now we will move to turbine, right. So what is turbine? Basically turbine and engines give positive power output, whereas compressor and pumps require power input, right. So turbine is a power producing device, we all know. At the expense of steam, it is producing mechanical shaft work output. If we will talk in steam turbine, if we will talk in water turbine, then at the expense of hydraulic energy, it will give us mechanical shaft work. So here we can see the increasing cross section is a device known as turbine. Here we can see W2 is a shaft work output we are getting from the turbine, and this outer dotted line is nothing but our control surface under which we are doing our investigation. This outer periphery is completely insulated. So here written insulation. So turbine is completely insulated, and here is the datum line from which if we will take the distances from the central lines of the shaft, then that will be Z1 and Z2. Right, so Z1 and Z2 is equal. That means potential energy is equal. So we can cancel both the potential energies. So here we can see, students, there are also some basic conditions which we have to apply in turbine for finding out the turbine work expression. So first condition is turbine is perfectly insulated, right. So when turbine will be perfectly insulated, we can see here in the figure, then our net heat transfer will be 0. Now second assumption is, or second condition is, change in kinetic energy and potential energy is neglected. That means we will neglect kinetic energy and potential energy. And here we can see in turbine, velocity at inlet is somehow equivalent to velocity at outlet. I have not written equal sign, I have written equivalent sign. So C1 will be equivalent to C2, means velocity at inlet will be equivalent to velocity at outlet. So for a turbine which is well insulated, the flow velocities are often small, right. When the turbine is insulated means when there is no heat transfer from the system to surrounding, then the velocities are very small. So now we are applying steady flow energy equation at 1 and 2. This is one cross section and this is our 2 cross section, right? Mass is entering from here and mass is getting out from here, right? So we will write our steady flow energy equation. Equation is H1 plus C1 square by 2 plus GZ1 plus Q equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2 plus GZ2 plus WT, that is turbine work, right? So we can cancel velocities both side in the LHS and in the RHS, or in the section 1 and at the section 2. We can cancel out potential energies also, as our system is insulated, so we can equate our net heat transfer to 0, so it will also become 0. So what will be remaining? H1 in the left hand side and H2 plus WT in the right hand side. When we will rearrange the equation, rearrange the terms, then we will get WT is equal to H1 minus H2, means change in enthalpies is equal to net work transfer. So that is our turbine work, and the unit of turbine work will be in kilojoule per kilogram, right? So here it is seen that work is done by the fluid at the expense of enthalpy, right? So similarly, for an adiabatic pump or compression, work is done upon the fluid, and WP is negative. We have already studied earlier that power producing devices are the devices which produces positive work, and power absorbing devices are the devices which are consuming work. So when a device will produce work, then its work is denoted as positive, and when a device will absorb work, then its work is denoted as negative. So for pump and compressor, this is negative work. So here expression is written WP equal to H2 minus H1. Earlier we have taken minus sign outside the bracket, and when we have took the minus sign inside the bracket, then the expression of pump work will become H2 minus H1. WP equal to H2 minus H1 in kilojoule per kilogram. So this expression WT equal to H1 minus H2 is very important from the numerical point of view. In many numericals, we have to use this WT equal to H1 minus H2 for finding out turbine work, right? So next move to compressor or pump, we can say. So here we can see the diagram of this compressor. This is our bottom line, and we can see the height Z1, or we can say head, we can see Z1 and Z2 from the central lines of the shaft of the compressor, right? So basically, what is the function of compressor? Function of compressor is to take a definite quantity of fluid, gas or air. Fluid consists of gas or air, and delivers it at a required pressure. Basically, the main function of compressor is to take the air at low pressure and convert it to the, or make it to the, or take it to the high pressure, right? When at the inlet we will get the fluid at low pressure, and when at the outlet we will get the fluid at high pressure. So basically, function of compressor is to take a definite quantity of fluid and deliver it at a required pressure. So there are also some conditions for finding out the compressor work by the help of a steady flow energy equation. So conditions are: first, compressor is perfectly insulated, means no heat transfer from the system to the surrounding, right? So there will be no heat transfer, right? So here on the outside periphery of the compressor we can see this line. So this is the line of insulation, right? So compressor is perfectly insulated. That means heat transfer from the compressor to the surrounding is 0, right? Then second point, we have taken change in potential energy and kinetic energy is neglected. We can see here potential energy 0 when we will apply the equations, steady flow energy equations, then these potential energy get cancelled and the both cross section at 1 and 2. So that's why we have neglected potential energy and kinetic energy. And last, already in the turbine we have discussed that velocity at inlet and velocity at outlet will be somehow equivalent. That will not be much different. There will be no much difference. Why? Because already we are seeing there is no heat transfer. So when insulation is there, so kinetic energy will not change, or if it will change, then very less amount of change. So that's why we neglect it. So now we apply steady flow energy equation at 1 and at 2. So equation is H1 plus C1 square by 2 plus GZ1 plus Q equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2 plus GZ2 plus WC, that is compressor work. So in LHS and RHS we neglect kinetic energies and we neglect potential energies, that is kinetic energy is C1 square by 2 and here C2 square by 2, potential energy GZ1 here in left hand side, and in right hand side GZ1, sorry, it is GZ2 dear students, it will be GZ2, it is written mistakenly that GZ1, this point is GZ2, okay. So finally after solving it, we will get the expression of compressor work. So that will be in negative sign, because in compressor work is done on the system, right? So either we can write WC in minus, or we have finally written here WC equal to minus H1 minus H2, right? So negative sign shows work done on the system. So whenever we will have power consuming devices, because in compressors we have to give work input, but in turbine we are getting work output. So wherever we will give work input in that particular device, our work done is negative, and when we will get the negative sign, that means work done on the system. So final expression for compressor work is WC equal to H2 minus H1, and that will be in kilojoule per kilogram, right? It will be just opposite to the net work done by turbine. So WC equal to H2 minus H1 kilojoule per kilogram. Now move to the fourth device, and that is our throttling device, right? So dear students, we can see here this is a pipe, right, and this is a curve, this is a pipe, and our fluid is flowing through this pipe. But we can see this particular portion, there is a small opening here. We can see there is a small opening. So fluid is coming this way and it is going this way, like this and like this, and then fluid is going outside. So this diffuser is basically insulated. Here we can see the sign of insulation. So this diffuser is insulated, right? So this device is known as diffuser. So this diffuser is insulated. So dear students, what we are doing basically, sorry, this is not diffuser, right? This is basically a throttling device. Diffuser is a device in which exit cross section area will increase. So this is our throttling device, right? So this is our throttling device. So when fluid is going from there like this, and fluid will get outside. So here it is a partially open valve. What is the function of this partially open valve? The function of this partially open valve is to close the passage, and when it will close the passage, then the fluid coming from inlet, that will not go through this outlet, so the passage will be closed. So a slight opening will be there, that's why we have called it partially open valve, means very slight opening is there. So if we are having that kind of condition, so that kind of condition is known as throttling. If we are having a partially open or partially passage, then that kind of section is known as throttling. So what is throttling? Let's see here. When a fluid flows through a constricted or restricted passage, like a partially open valve, an orifice or a porous plug, there is an appreciable drop in pressure and the flow is said to be throttled, right? So the given figure shows the process of throttling by a partially open valve on a fluid moving in an insulated pipe. So this is our insulated pipe, right, where heat transfer is zero, right, from system to the surrounding, and this is partially open valve. So there are also some assumptions. First assumption is no heat transfer, because we can see this our insulated pipe is insulated. This is our pipe is insulated basically, so no heat transfer, no work transfer, because no work is being done by the system or on the system. So no work transfer because water is coming and going out, just not doing work anywhere. So work transfer is 0. It is an irreversible process. Why it is an irreversible process? Because friction, because of friction. Why friction is coming here? Because it is partially open valved. So many times it will happen that water will go there and again it will come back. So these disturbances will create friction in the system. So due to the friction, we can say it is an irreversible process. Then fourth point is, assumption is a reduction in pressure due to friction. Reduction in pressure due to friction, right? And fifth one is isenthalpic process. When we will get isenthalpic process equation after when we apply steady flow energy equation at cross section 1 and 2, then we will get the final answer that this throttling process is an isenthalpic process, means enthalpy at 1 is equal to enthalpy at 2, right? So now students, we will apply steady flow energy equation at 1 and 2. This at 1 and at 2, right? This is bottom line, and the height of the central line of this pipe from the bottom is Z1 and Z2. This height is equal, right? So when we apply steady flow energy equation is H1 plus C1 square by 2 plus GZ1 plus Q equal to H2 plus C2 square by 2 plus GZ2 plus WCV. So we know work done is 0, heat transfer is 0, change in potential energy and kinetic energy is also 0, as C1 equal to C2, that means kinetic energy is also 0. So finally we will have H1 in the left hand side and H2 in the right hand side. That means enthalpy at section 1 is equal to enthalpy at section 2. So finally the expression for throttling device is H1 equal to H2. That is isenthalpic process. Isenthalpic process, that means ki enthalpy is same. Isenthalpic means iso plus enthalpy. Iso means same, enthalpy is, right? So this is H1 equal to H2. So enthalpy at inlet is equal to enthalpy at outlet. This is the final expression for throttling device. So that's all for today's class, dear students. In the next class we will discuss some numericals on flow processes. Thank you.